Well, and that's the thing, having that mental bandwidth to be able to make those pivots and shift. I mean, that's key. We're seeing an economy that is question mark. Nobody quite knows when anything's going to happen, if anything's going to happen. Inflation's rising, the bottom's falling out of some industries. And so having the mental bandwidth to be able to look at your business, look at the future, and recognize clients' pain points like that. You know, the pain point, maybe they don't want to sign up for $2,000 a month, but they'd be willing to drop $150 on a day. So it's the Airbnb versus the long-term rental model.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, you make a lot more money on the Airbnb model.
Well, and it's more accessible.
It's more accessible to everyone rather than saying you're going to have to commit to a long-term high-cost commitment. Yeah. And it proves your value. So you do a great job on the dailies. People are a lot more likely to trust that your VAs are high quality and that
that's
they
the
can
way
do a
it
good
should
job.
be. It should be that way. That way you can stick your toe in the water to find out if it's too cold or too hot, right?
Yep.
Before you go jumping into it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's what I would want as a business owner. That's why I'm so excited about that, because it's more accessible. I think it's more authentic and honest. And, you know, it's not going to be perfect. You may have people that don't do well at it. It's okay. Well, let's figure out what was wrong. But you only spent $150 or $200 as opposed to spending $3,500 your first month and then $2,000 a month thereafter. It's like, wait a minute, can we start off a little lower on the?
Well, and the thing with leverage too is you don't have this problem, which is wonderful for you. But a lot of business owners have a problem of not wanting to give up control. So even when they hire leverage, they do not actually use it to the highest advantage because they don't want to give up control of the things they're doing. So what's some advice you could give someone who's struggling with delegation?
I've been there. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I'm not a control freak, but I do like to have control because I'm confident in my abilities to do things. But I also believe in people, right? And I also want to not be a job owner. So it's like I know where I'm going. So I have to get over myself. And a great example of that was my hiring. So I've been a cop. I've been in law enforcement for 30 years. I know how to interview people, kind of how a cop interviews people, right? Which is, you know, good and bad, right? Yeah. But I think I'm a good people person. And I think I make good decisions on hiring. I've been pretty successful at it. Not 100%, but it'll never be 100%. So when I would look to hire somebody to come in and help me is because it was getting to be too much. There was too much activity going on there. And I needed to make sure we could continue to execute at a high level. So I hired somebody to come in. The first person didn't work out because of health reasons, but I got another girl in, that's Abby now, that works for me. And she is easily 2 or 3 times better at the job than I am. That was a good moment for me to realize that I'm not the best at it. And that's for good reason. But I was able to contribute to her success through what I know. So I like to train and educate people. I put a lot of energy into that. So that's part of how I kind of went past that. It's like I passed that responsibility on and enjoyed that process. And now she executes at an extremely high level.
So if you were talking to someone, what would be a tip you could give them on recognizing a task that they should probably delegate?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. So first off is your time better spent somewhere else because you can do more for your business? It's not always money, right? But it could be, right? Like I should be spending more time on relationships because that leads to high, know, like, and trust factor being high, which leads to more sales, that kind of a thing. You can argue that, right? But as a business owner, I think we can identify a couple of points where we should focus because it's best for the business, and other things we can let go of, right? We should not be doing social media. If you're a business owner, look, and we meet them all the time, and don't get your feelings hurt, but if you're a business owner, even if your business is social media, you should not be doing social media. That is a lower skill level operation that needs to be done by an employee. A good example or analogy is the restaurant owner. A restaurant owner is not going to be the hostess or the waitress or the waiter or the chef. You know, maybe the chef, but they really shouldn't be because the chef's extremely busy, right? They need to be doing marketing and building relationships with the community and getting the word out about their business and driving more customers to the door or facilitating the operation to do that. That's what they do. Not on social media.
Yeah.
It's like, come on now. So whenever I hear somebody saying, well, I'm great on social media and you're a business owner, I'm thinking, you're wasting your time. Can you think of an example where a business owner should spend their time on social media? I can't think of one.
Maybe if they're an influencer, but then it's just creating the content, not so much posting.
That's
and
what I do here.
And sharing, and exactly.
I create a lot of content, right? I got no problem with that, right? I post zero content, right, when it comes to this type of stuff.
So a good question to ask yourself if you're a business owner is, could I be paying someone less money than I want to earn to do this better than me?
Yeah. So like, whenever people listen to the video, but it's just a few $100s a month to hire professionals to go take care of that for you. It takes it off and lets you, and they'll do it at a better level. Because if you think you're doing great on social media, I promise you're not. There's going to be, when you put a team of folks behind it and they can continually evolve your channel and then doing the engagement that's necessary to make your profile successful, that takes a lot of time and effort to do that. Focus on creating content around yourself.
Yeah. And so you've got the delegation to where it's down. You've kind of created a way to train these people. You enjoy training. Now, a big piece of having a team of 26 people now?
Well, we're at 23. I don't know. It's a kind of blurs.
20 plus.
Seriously.
Having a team of 20 plus people,
there we go.
Big point of that is you can't personally manage probably 26 people at a time.
No.
So how do you hold your staff accountable to the jobs they've been hired to do?
So you designate team leaders, right? And then they have tasks and missions, administrative tasks and functions, and then social media, and then hiring. So those are like my three main categories of stuff that I've got going on. And really communication is super important. Well, this is the mission and vision of what's going on with the company. So social media, what's going on here every day. I meet with them every single day to get a report on what's going on. And I'm accessible throughout the day on Slack, right? So if the team leader has a problem, they can get a hold of me, or if they need clarifications, that happens. So I've not abdicated any part of my business where I've completely walked away from it, but I've delegated the crap out of it. I mean, there's a lot of delegation going on there, which allows them to actually have that authority over what they're doing so that they can improve and they can make decisions. I actually have, like, when I hire, the last guy we just hired, Brian, I was not involved in that hiring process at all.
That's awesome.
It was my three main core folks that all participated in that hiring process. And I approved it based on their recommendation. That's a new step for me, right? But when the machine's building the machine, so to speak, right, that now I've it's not abdication, but it's certainly delegation.
You knew about it, but you didn't have to do anything in it.
I didn't. I just met the guy first, this morning. You know what I mean? And of course, I give my speech when we got new people. It's like, you need to be on time. You need to have great attitude, listen to your supervisors. So I make sure that people understand how the company works, and I give the support to the leadership. So I think as long as you've got a good mission, there's a good vision, a clear vision of what's going on with the particular division, and you give the proper support there, and you pick good leaders, and then you maintain good relationships with those leaders, then I think you can do extremely well. I have been very fortunate, I think, but I don't think it's not like rare.
It's not luck, I would say. It's more because it sounds to me like accountability for leverage is the difference between strategically building a team to accomplish your missions and goals and just throwing money at a problem. Because you could hire a VA and just be like, go fix this, and then never check on them. And the likelihood of it actually happening is 50-50. You could get someone just spectacular, blow it out of the water, just because of who they are. But that's not what you're doing. You're intentionally hiring for a vision, training, setting up the structure to where you know what's going on in your business. You're just not the one doing it.
Right. So creating a company culture with that clear vision and support, that's how you build a company that can have thousands of VAs working for you. I'm not building a company for 20 or 30 VAs. I'm building a company for thousands of VAs.
Yep.
And the only way to do that and make it successful is to grow it from the ground up and do the right things as you move along.
Yeah, building a sturdy foundation. I see a lot of businesses that they grow like one of those little weed trees that they just grow up and they spread out, but they don't have a really solid trunk. So the wind will knock them down and they're really easy to cut versus a tree that grows really slow, but it's super, super strong and steady. And then the branches just go poof at the top.
Yeah. Trees, I love, pruning trees and stuff is something I've always enjoyed doing. And it drives me crazy when you see a beautiful oak, but the branches are really low on it. It's very bushy, and it's like they didn't trim it properly. They didn't shape that tree properly to really kind of give it its full potential of what that beautiful oak tree could become. But if you tend it from the ground up and you care about it, then it's a world of difference. And that's kind of how I treat my company. I'm very hands-on, but yet use delegation.
With the goal of being hands-off. And to that point, you've said a couple times throughout this episode, abdication. What does abdication mean to you?
So it's stepping away and letting what you have grown continue to execute and continue to grow. But the timing of that is important. And I think the being accessible always and being willing to go back in to correct is important. But accountability is a big factor in that too. So I've hired my first executive assistant. It's my shadow basically to make sure, it's like my project manager for all of the projects and stuff that I'm doing. But her job is to be aware, execute, be aware, and inform, right? That's her job with me. And it's like, that's important. So I don't think there ever comes a time when you completely walk away and not care. I don't mean that kind of abdication, but certainly being able to step away enough to where you're very rarely involved in it, but still accessible and still making sure there's accountability there.
So if you had to assign, everything went right, that's one of my favorite questions, and you were your version of abdication, which is high level, involved but not involved, how many hours a week would you be pouring into the business personally?
So if you're talking, so my definition of business is a little bit different because I'm growing several verticals, but they're all based on staffing, right? So I don't think there's ever a point where I'm completely away from it, but my ideal situation is to get to where I can pour in a couple of hours a week into each company because it's running so well. But those couple of hours are high-level contacts and accessibility to make corrections or to make decisions at a higher level that need to be done. But that shouldn't be more than a couple hours a week per company. That's my ideal situation. And I know that it happens out there for people that build these companies properly. I've also heard, 17 to 20 hours a week is, but for a company, right, that you're involved in. That's not my goal. My goal is 1 to 2 hours a week, but at a high level that it operates. But the fun for me is building that out. I'm not on a lottery ticket, kind of a wish, pipe dream, whatever. I'm just going to do this and run for it. No, that's not what I'm doing. I'm building carefully, slowly, methodically, and I think hopefully wisely. That's why I have you as a business coach, so I can see things and more clearly and make good decisions as I move along, and constantly being challenged on what I'm thinking so that I can do what's best for the people. Obviously, I'm building a network of people that are all servicing Crucus to make that work well. So I'm not building a thing that I'm building an organism, if you will.
And I think that clarity is key because I feel like there's a lot of negative connotations around the word abdication, right? Abdicating the throne, abdicating the presidency. But if you think of it in, I want to abdicate all roles so that I can pour in a few hours a week per company I have. So if you have 5 companies, that's 10 hours a week. And that's your version of abdication. That's super positive and a really clear goal that you're actively building to get to. So it's not 10 hours a week right now or 2 hours a week right now.
No, heck no. It's still 60 hours a week
Still
right
spending
now.
60 hours a week, but with the goal in mind in 10 years to be at 2 hours a week per business. And in that time frame, I mean, if you concentrate on that type of goal, you can absolutely do it. You just have to be willing to leverage. There's no way you can do it on your own.
No, leverage is for the business owner out there who has maybe even been toying with the idea of hiring remote workers, it's like, what have you got to lose? Go give it a try, right? I mean, talk with me about what does this look like? What does it feel like? How is this going to work for your business? And let's come up with a good plan but let's move forward, right? I'm not let's plan and let's think. It's like, let's take a look at this. This is how it works. Now let's do it. I'm very action oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way.
Jump off the cliff and
But I know how deep the water is. I know how cold the water is.
Do your research.
There's no alligators, right? I mean, I understand what I'm jumping into as much as I can, but I'm not afraid to jump. Let's go.
Well, that's something that I think every business owner recognizes, but not every business owner truly takes to heart, is starting and running a business is a risk. So no matter what, even if you take control and you keep doing all the work, it is still risky. But nothing is impossible. So if you've got a plan and you've got a vision for what you want to see happen, you can make it happen.
Well, sometimes the plan is just surrounding yourself with people that can help you go in the right direction, because you can't. What does it say? Mike Tyson says everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, but that's what entrepreneurship is. You're going to get punched in the face. How are you going to react? And who is your counsel around you? Who's in your sphere that can help support you and give you good information? And what are you learning? So entrepreneurship is a really good playground for me. It fits very well with who I am. It drives my wife a little crazy at times.
That's where you're gonna really hone your sales skills there.
It was fun talking to, because I kind of picked up on that vibe with Alex and Elaine. You know what I mean? It's like, he's driving force and she's kind of just trying to keep her sanity at least a little bit at the beginning of it, but then all in and really, really helping the business be successful. I can relate to that quite a bit. Yeah,
it's good to have a healthy dose of integrator skepticism to a visionary's high-flying optimism. It helps balance it out.
And back to, business coaching is like, if you've been so helpful because it's back to the therapy world again, right? Because
therapy world.
Jennifer, when she hears you asking me questions, it's not just what Mark thinks and what Mark's planning on. Where's he getting information? And is anybody holding Mark accountable or at least feeding him advice and information that seems real, that Jennifer can hear and see that that's being done? It can give her confidence. So since she's been coming to the coaching sessions, it has changed it's been an amazing transformation. She's much more plugged in now. I'm not sure exactly the reason why, but I know that was a good trigger. She was already involved, but it's different now. So thank you for that.
Oh, thanks.
It's important.
I think that's important, though, in business. What I love about having a coach is that I want someone who is not emotionally or monetarily tied to my results. So I know that whoever I'm talking to, they want me to succeed. Don't get me wrong. They're rooting for me. But if I fail, it's not going to affect them. If I succeed, it's not going to affect them. Whereas if I was talking to my husband about this, if I fail, it really affects him. If I succeed, it really does. So he's not going to give me unbiased advice or feedback, and he's not going to be that unbiased backer board for me to bounce ideas off of.
Well, maybe influenced by fear.
Oh, fear, absolutely.
So that's something that's not healthy.
We swim in not calm waters here in entrepreneurial world. I mean, I'm as likely to succeed as I am to fail, and being able to handle that risk tolerance, it's a certain type of personality.
It is. All right, Heather, well, thanks a lot for that chat. I appreciate it. As we wrap up our show, quick reminder to check out our latest podcast or catch video versions of the show anytime by visiting our website at satalkradio.com. That's going to be it for us for this week. You guys have a great one, and we'll see you on the next one.
Sounds good.
Thank you.